Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. My guest tonight is Adrienne Cruser. Adrienne is a unique young woman who does many, many things. And among those many things is she's a member of the Blackwater Rollers, which is a female roller derby team that's right here in our area. Adrienne, I'm delighted to have you as my guest tonight.
Thank you, Linda.
Before we get into the roller derby, we just want to find out a little bit about you. Now, you're Director of Administration at Lynchburg Speech Therapy Incorporated. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about what your job involves doing that?
Sure. I answer the telephone all day long and I file insurance claims. That's the bulk of my job. And so I handle all the business end while our therapists handle the clinical end. And I'm even the housekeeper, so I do wear a lot of hats. And but my favorite part is watching our families and patients leave through the door with a sense of hope. And so that's the best part of my job. That makes dealing with all the insurance companies worth it.
I'm sure, if anything can make dealing with insurance
That's right.
companies worth it. All right, you said this is a family business?
Yes.
And
it's my mother's business. We just celebrated our 16-year anniversary on April 1st.
That's good.
Yes.
And you've been there, I think you said you started volunteering when you were in high school.
That's right. I volunteered there in high school. I've done every different kind of job there you could imagine. And then I came on as director 3 years ago.
Cool. Now, in addition to your day job, you're involved in mixed martial arts and you're a cage fighter. I don't know what a cage fighter is, so can you tell us what that is?
Sure. MMA is a combat sport. It's a mix of martial arts that includes the striking aspect and the grappling aspect of martial arts. And I've been studying it for about 3 years now. And it just takes extreme dedication and lots of hard work and training, a lot of soul in order to be able to compete in this sport. But it's truly my passion.
How'd you get involved in this?
Well, I'd moved back to Lynchburg, and I was a little depressed about living back home, and I'd gained a lot of weight and just sort of my future. And so I'd always been interested in Muay Thai kickboxing. So I searched around town and enrolled in some classes, and after training every day, I lost over 70 pounds.
Wow, that's great.
Gained my confidence back and my passion for life.
So where were you?
I went to school at VCU in Richmond.
Okay, so this was out of school when you came back home. All right, now you said as a child that you were involved in ballet.
Yes.
And do you think that has anything to do with your interest in martial arts? Because they're both pretty regimented.
Definitely. A lot of discipline is needed in order to compete in either of those sports. And basically, it stems from my drive. I need a physical outlet and a physical expression. And so that's, how they meet.
Now, you're a member of the Blackwater Rollers.
Yes.
And that's a local female roller derby team. How'd you get involved with the roller derby?
Well, I actually had a fear of roller skating, and I was out at a show watching some good music in Lynchburg one evening, and Kitten Vicious, who has passed away, came up to me. I had my hair in cornrows in preparation for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar the next day. And Kitten came up to me and she said, "You look really tough and you look really cool. You should come out and play roller derby." And so I contacted the team via email to find out what practice times were, and finally gathered up the courage to go out to Appomattox and lace up some skates.
So your martial arts really didn't lead you into it. It was the cornrows that
That's
led
right,
you
that's
into
right.
it. You know, I wasn't even aware that there was a local roller derby. And where are you based?
We're based out of Appomattox at AJ's Skate World. That's our home base.
Now, for our audience who knows nothing about roller derby, can you just give us sort of a rundown of what the roller derby is?
Sure. It's a lot of gals on skates, and we play a game on a track where you have 4 players from each team, and then they form the pack. And then there's 2 players called the jammers, one from each team, that start out behind the pack. And their goal is to make it through the pack as many times as possible, and they score a point for each opposing player that they pass. And that's the general way we play.
Are the jammers the ones that get hurt the most often, or that do more damage?
They're the biggest targets. They're definitely the biggest targets, but they can do a lot of damage too.
What is your position?
I actually play, I'm best at being a blocker. I like to play B2 and B3, which are in the back, but I also jam on occasion. We were up a lot of points, and my coach at the time threw me the jam panty. We wear helmet panties, and the jammer has a star on hers. And he said, go try it. And I thought I was going to pass out, but I ended up getting lead jammer and scored a grand slam, and so I've been jamming ever since.
That's cool, and I'm going to ask you now, I was going to ask you later, but you've just won several Most Valuable Player awards.
Yes.
You want to tell us about that? I think that's so cool.
We've had 3 bouts this season so far, and I've been awarded MVP twice. How we do that is the Blackwater Rollers pick their MVP for the opposing team, and then the opposing team picks the MVP for the Blackwater Rollers. So I was chosen at the last bout. We were playing the Charlottesville Derby Dames, and so they picked me as the MVP.
That is just, congratulations. I know that you're proud to
Very
have gotten
exciting.
that. And for those of us who can see Adrienne, she's wearing her roller derby outfit, sitting with us right now. Is there also a men's roller derby team locally?
Not locally. The closest one is in Richmond. They're called the Richmond Derby Demons. And they have a men's team, a women's team, and a co-ed team. Our next bout is on May 22nd in Richmond, and we'll actually be playing co-ed against a co-ed team.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
That'll be exciting. But hopefully, as more people become interested in derby around here, we might get enough people to have a men's team.
Have you done a co-ed thing before?
Never before. This is the first one.
That ought to be. I mean, that really should be interesting because men really have more force than women. And, okay. Do you know how many teams within our area there are?
There are a lot.
Are there really?
There's a lot of teams. You'd be surprised how many there are in Virginia. There's the River City Rollers and Richmond Derby Demons in Richmond. There's the Charlottesville Derby Dames. There's Star City in Roanoke. And then the New River Valley Roller Girls in Christiansburg. And we compete against them, and we've also competed against ladies from Maryland, Tennessee, North Carolina. It's a really popular sport.
Yeah, I wondered if the people you compete against are within the state, or if you ever go out.
We do
you
travel.
Go out
Yes, we do.
That should be kind of interesting.
It's always exciting to go on a road trip with the roller derby girls.
You know, one of the things that I think is so cool that you all do is you have derby names, and you want to tell our audience what your derby name is.
My derby name is Eartha Hitt. I took that from Eartha Kitt, who was a phenomenal woman. She met a lot of adversity and still was very successful as an advocate and on stage until the day she died. So I aspire to be that kind of phenomenal woman. And I just changed Kitt to Hit to derby it up a little bit.
That's cool.
And we also have wild numbers. My number is Cloud 9, and it's because 9's my lucky number, and who doesn't want to be in a state of elation?
Can you give us just a couple of the other names? Because I think they're so cool.
Oh, absolutely. We've got Mighty Mouse, our hometown hero from Appomattox. We've got Fly Swata as our president. Brooklyn Basher, Ortho Havoc.
That's what she's the one on your website that's holding a femur.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And she's a nurse.
She is.
Too.
Exactly.
I remember that. You know, your derby names just have to be for fun.
Oh, yes.
I mean, and I think that's pretty great. For anybody who might be interested in who's watching this show, what sort of a ballpark figure, what does it cost you to become a member of the roller derby team?
Well, we have dues that are $30 a month, and that's what pays for our rink rental each month. Then when it comes to your gear, you're looking at about $150 to $600 depending on what you buy.
Right.
I started off with a $65 pair of roller skates, and they lasted me for 2 years.
Right.
So there's a wide variety of things out there.
All right, you brought some pictures, but before we show your pictures, would you tell our audience what this picture is behind us?
Sure.
I'll sort of lean over so you can see.
This is a picture of myself jamming.
And you're on this side
I'm
here.
on the
whatever side that is. You're on the left side.
I'm in the pink helmet pin,
Okay.
with the black star. And then there's a gal from Star City. She's jamming as well. And it looks like we've just come off the jam line and we're competing to get through the pack first.
I just think that's a wonderful picture. All right, Phil, if you want to go on and show the rest of the pictures, Adrienne will tell us what they are. All right, we've got that one.
This is my headshot for Derby. This is what you'll see on our website, and each of our ladies has one.
You didn't send that to me. I plucked that off of the website because I like it.
Awesome. This is a picture of a lot of different teams. We get together each year for several different mixers where we'll play against our own teammates and with opposing teams. So this is a picture of post-tax smacks from last year, and I was on the Thomas Jeffersons in the white. And it's a lot of fun. This is a picture of me and my debut MMA fight in Evansville, Indiana. I'm the blur in the center, and my opponent, Michelle, is in the blue shorts.
Now, is this cage fighting?
This is cage fighting,
Okay.
yes. And that's a picture of me in a guillotine by Michelle, and I'm trying to get out of it. You can see she's already bloodied my nose. But that was a very good battle. I had a lot of fun doing that.
And this is cage fighting,
And this
too.
is cage
Okay.
fighting as well, yes. This is actually a grappling tournament out in Evansville, and there's no striking involved. You're just trying to basically take the person to the ground or submit them while standing. This is a picture of me training with one of my girls, Julie, and we're in the gym. I'm giving her some good knees.
Still cage fighting?
Yes.
And, okay.
This is a picture of me with Sarah Kaufman. She's a 135-pound title fighter for Strike Force, and she's a great inspiration to me. I've had the opportunity to train with her on several different occasions, and she's just really great at what she does. I look up to her a lot. This is a picture after the grappling tournament with a great group of gals that I met out at G-Fight in Indiana, and you see all the winners are down there on the front row, and we all had a great time that morning. It was after a long week of training with lots of different professionals. Oh, this is a picture of me and my current team up in Fishersville, Virginia, where our buddy Sam had just won the title fight and the title belt, so we were really, really excited about that. This is a picture with Warren Haynes out in Evansville, and it was a kickboxing seminar, and it's just a bunch of us that participated in the seminar. This is me skydiving. One of my best girlfriends that I grew up with and I went skydiving for our birthdays last year, and I recommend it to anyone who's brave enough. It's quite an exhilarating experience.
I just think it's so wonderful that you're into so many different things.
Thank
and,
you.
You know, I left this picture in. It doesn't have anything to do with roller derby, but I just wanted to show people how diverse you are
Well, thank you.
and how athletic.
Thanks. This is a picture of the roller derby team at my house. This winter we had a big party for team building activities, and we all ate dinner together, and we're just one big happy family, and that's a picture of us all together. Oh, this is a picture from our most recent bout. This is me in the front against 5 other Charlottesville Derby dames, and you see the lady with the blue helmet panty on. She's their jammer. I'm trying to hold back the other 4 girls as well.
Did you do it?
I was successful. And that's me hitting one of the gals from New River, trying to allow some space for our jammer Indy Rock to get through. This is our lineup. When we start each bout, we go through introductions. Everyone from the opposing team, as well as our team, is introduced, and we all take a knee and give everyone a high five when they roll by.
Cool. Those are some wonderful pictures.
Thanks.
What kind of time and commitment is involved in being part of the roller derby?
There's a lot of time involved. We practice twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30. Then naturally we have the bouts, and we also do a lot of volunteering in our community, and we do a lot of work to recruit new skaters, new referees, new fans, and we vote for officers every 6 months. I'm currently the treasurer, and so the officers do a lot to help the business move smoothly.
I'm sure.
and keep all the business in together.
Do you have a coach?
We don't have a coach right now, but we're definitely looking for one. If there's anyone out there who is willing to encourage some strong-willed women to victory, then give us a call.
How do you manage without a coach?
Well, we have a coaching committee, and a few of the girls have stepped up, and they trade places running practices. So they take turns, and they've done a really great job so far.
That's cool. How often do you compete?
We compete once a month. Now that's way too much for some people and just not enough for others.
I guess if you're competing that often and then you're training in between.
It's difficult.
I may have asked you this question already, but how often do you practice?
We practice twice a week, every week.
So that is a time commitment.
Definitely.
Right there. And the competitions are held where locally?
Locally, our home base is at AJ's in Appomattox, and then naturally we travel. All summer we're going to be traveling to do away games, but all of our home bouts are at AJ's Skate World.
How many women are on your team?
Well, we typically have anywhere from 7 to 20 gals on the team at a time. The roster has room for 14 ladies. And so we also have a fresh meat program where that's what we call our new skaters, fresh meat. And so they come and they train with either one of our veterans on the side while they pick up new skills. And so we have a lot of those people as well.
That's great. What age group?
You have to be 18 in order to play because it's such an extreme sport.
I would imagine.
And that's our youngest players so far, but we've also had ladies who are in their 40s, and it's really a sport for all ages.
And it's excellent exercise.
Definitely.
You know. And if you don't mind getting hurt every now and then.
That's right, that's right.
All right, how does somebody go about becoming a part of your team?
Well, just join us. There's 2 different tests that you have to take in order to be able to bout and compete, a written test and a physical test. Once you pass those, then you're eligible to bout, and then we have an attendance policy and other stipulations, participation in outside events and that sort of thing that determine who's able to be on the roster. And then, you know, if you want to, if you're not as confident or don't know as much about Derby as you think, you can stay in the fresh meat program until you're confident enough to test and bout.
I just think that's a fun name.
It is.
How about physically? Do you have to have a physical every so often, or are you required to have one once a year? Or?
We're not. We're required to have health insurance.
Right.
And then we also have insurance called USARS that each member of the team has to have, and that is $45 per year. But when it comes to a physical, we just pretty much go based on each individual. Now, if you've had injuries, we've had a young girl who's broken her leg. When she comes back to us, we will have to have a note from her doctor saying that she's cleared to compete and ready to skate. But other than that, it's pretty much up to the individual.
Now, do you call your uniforms or costumes?
Well, some teams call them costumes. Some teams have themes like biker babes or ice cream parlor gals, ninjas, and that sort of thing. But the Blackwater Rollers, we're a really young team, so we've got our black and our pink jerseys. And then we pretty much free with what we wear otherwise. We're known for our fishnets and our short skirts and all that good stuff.
That's cool. And, you know, when you're doing a competition, how long does it last?
Well, each period, we have 2 periods in each game. Each period lasts 30 minutes, and there's a 15-minute halftime. Within those periods are 2-minute jams. Now, typically, a jam won't last the entire 2 minutes, but sometimes they do. But when you come out to see a roller derby bout, you can bet on spending about 2 hours enjoying the game.
That's, and, you know, comparing it to football and baseball
Right, exactly.
and basketball and that kind of thing, I just wondered how long.
Right.
And you said do you have referees that are part of your team?
Absolutely.
How does that work if they're not prejudiced? You know?
Well, no, they're supposed to operate without bias when they referee the games, but they're really a crucial part of our team. They help us in practice.
That's what I was going to ask.
Absolutely,
they help
us. They help us by calling out penalties, and we practice going to the penalty box. They time us, and they cheer us on when we're practicing.
That's great.
And then for each bout, we usually need about 7 to 8 referees. So we'll have some from the opposing team, some from ours, and then we'll oftentimes borrow from other teams in the area to have enough.
That's great. This is something I think our audience is going to want to know. Are these competitions really as brutal as they look? You know, you see in the movies, and it just people are bloody. They get their teeth knocked out.
Well, they're really brutal. They're not like the old school roller derby you used to see on TV, which was a scripted, more staged thing. We would get kicked out of the game, ejected from the game, actually, for any fighting or insubordination or anything like that. But it is very brutal. You can get hurt. The most important thing I learned first off was to fall small and keep your fingers in, because you don't want to get those run over.
What does fall small mean?
Fall small, when you fall down on the ground, because you will, you want to be as in tight of a ball as possible. When I first started, I was very uneasy on my skates, and I'd fall just sprawling all over the place. So you just want to be in a tight little ball and keep all your limbs in.
So you've got to have special padding.
Definitely.
And equipment. You
Absolutely.
want to tell us about the equipment that you have to wear, and does the equipment keep you from feeling like you're moving as freely as you'd like to?
It takes a good minute to get used to it, definitely. I remember I had just finally gotten to where I could do my crossovers around the curves of the track, and then I got bigger knee pads, and I had to learn it all over again. But we definitely have to have the safety equipment. We all wear helmets, mouth guards, wrist guards, knee pads, and elbow pads. And then some ladies opt to have a rib protector for a vest for their ribs, padded shorts, or a tailbone protector. And we do use a lot of duct tape to keep it all together.
You know, things like a tailbone protector. That's something that I would never have thought of, but that is one of your most vulnerable areas.
Definitely.
Now tell me about some injuries that you've sustained and other people on your team.
Well, fortunately, I've been pretty lucky. I bruised my tailbone when I first started and walked around with a donut for a while. But my worst injuries to date are just some bloody knuckles from hitting the track and some Velcro burn from the other ladies' elbow pads and stuff. You'll get the burn on your skin and good old rink rash. But we have some ladies who have broken their legs, broken their wrists, fingers, hands. One of the gals on the Star City Rollers even had her eye stepped on with a skate, which was
terrible.
pretty brutal not too long ago. So it is very dangerous.
Now, do you actually hit and push members of the opposing team?
Oh yes, absolutely, as hard as you can. Now there's a legal zone. It has to be below, in between the shoulder and the waist. That's the zone where you're able to hit and you're able to hit with. So there's no elbows are illegal, forearms are illegal, and anything to the head or below the waist is illegal.
It just, you know, you just see all these things on television, and you're so attractive and so delicate looking, and you just don't look like you could be out there beating anybody to a bloody pulp.
Well, thank you.
Something you told my husband and me earlier that I think is interesting was one of the reasons that you wear the tights.
Yes, we actually wear tights to help prevent the rink rash. When you fall down and you skid across that rink, you can get some pretty heavy-duty burn on your leg. And so the tights and leggings that we wear help to prevent that to some extent.
You know, that's really interesting. I would not have thought about that. Do you have a large following of supporters?
We do. We do. We have a lot of fans, and we have a lot of gals who have their own fan group, and so we've got a lot of support locally.
You know, my husband, he always comes with me for these things, and somebody that he works with he had told him you were going to be on the show, and the man's son just went crazy, and he wants an autographed picture of you. So I know you're going to do that for him.
Absolutely.
But I just think that you're local celebrities, and I think that's really
right.
cool. Now your competitions, and I think this very important, that you do go out there and you raise money to support causes, and you want to tell us about a couple of them.
We do. We donate 10% of our half of every home bout ticket sales to a local nonprofit organization. We just recently did a build for Habitat for Humanity out in Amherst and donated 10% from our last bout to them. We've supported the Salvation Army, Lynchburg Grows, Lynchburg Humane Society, and we always like to support them financially when we can, and then also volunteer when we can.
I think that gives you purpose.
Definitely.
And, it's an important part of what you do.
Absolutely.
We're down to like 2 minutes. But I do want to ask you if there's anything that you want to say to anybody who might be interested in doing this. And how can they find out more about you?
All right, well, you can always visit us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page under the Blackwater Rollers, and we also have a website, www.blackwaterrollers.com. And I say, if you're interested, come out. You can come out and sit in on a practice and watch. You can come out. We have fresh meat gear we'll let you borrow with skates, so you don't even have to have your own stuff. Just come try it. And it's really a great place for ladies, your everyday woman, to get away from it all, let the troubles of life kind of melt away, and the only thing that matters is that perfectly timed hit, that perfectly placed skate, and it's a great place to meet a lot of new friends.
That's great. Adrienne, I have enjoyed having you on this show so much.
Thank
This is such
you.
a fun show, and I admire you for all the things that you do, and I don't understand how you find time to do all the things that you do, but I do thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much, Linda.
I hope you all have enjoyed tonight's show. I think it's been so much fun. My next show will feature Lisa and Billy Wright, grandparents who are in a whole new position. They're taking care of their children's children. They're taking care of their grandchildren while their children are both deployed in Iraq, and I think it's that's going to be an interesting show. So thank you for watching tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.